Hello, welcome to another show, Explore Living, and in our episode this week, we'll bring you to the central province of Quảng Trị. During the war, this was among the places where the most fierce battles took place, and even when the war has ended nearly 40 years ago, the consequences are still there, with Agent Orange and unexploded ordnance. And along with efforts of the local authority, NGOs and foreign organizations have also arrived and lent the locals a hand in improving their life, overcoming the difficulties, and heading towards a brighter future. We have more in the following story. Đông Hà City, Quảng Trị Province, 2014. The image of this once war-torn area has gradually faded. Remnants of the war seem only to be found in rusty tanks around the city, but sadly, that's not totally true. For people here, another battle is ongoing. As part of the infamous DMZ during the American War, Quảng Trị Province experienced some of the fierce fighting of the conflict. A ratio of over 1 ton of ordnance per civilian littered the province during the war, and an estimated 89% of the province remains contaminated with unexploded ordnance. The danger of UXOs has raised concerns from international community.
Many landmine victims were breadwinners. Now they need help for rehabilitation and reintegration.
And think of these as each one a tiny explosive buried a few inches beneath the surface of the ground. Each one is capable of killing a child. It's a reality today for many countries, from Vietnam to Angola to Colombia.
I have walked the minefields of the world in Afghanistan, Croatia, Bosnia-Herzegovina, Angola, and nowhere is more important to me than Vietnam.
The problem in Vietnam is so severe that it will take 300 years and $10 billion to clean up every bomb and mine. Well, that's an impossible task, and in fact it can't be done in 300 years, and it can't be done in 1,000 years because you'll never clean up every bomb and mine.
Contamination in Vietnam is very high, especially in the central provinces, with Quảng Trị being your most contaminated provinces out of the 6 most contaminated provinces.
This has prompted them to take part in the efforts to deal with the legacy of the war in Vietnam. Returned to Vietnam, U.S. veteran Chuck Searcy chose Quảng Trị Province for his mission.
I'm Chuck Searcy. I'm from Athens, Georgia. When I came to Vietnam in 1967, I couldn't find Vietnam on a map. Came here because I'm a veteran of the war, and ended up staying, working on humanitarian projects related to the consequences of the war, which is unexploded ordnance.
More than 100,000 Vietnamese people have been killed or maimed by unexploded ordnance or UXOs since the end of the war in 1975. Here in Quảng Trị Province, the former demilitarized zone that once separated South and North Vietnam, more bombs are believed to have been dropped than in all of Europe during World War II. Many of them were cluster bombs, containing hundreds of small but very lethal devices that were supposed to explode on impact.
The Defense Department estimates that about 10% did not detonate as designed. So when they fell to the ground intact, now today, 40 years later, they're exploding and they kill and maim people.
After the war, Searcy worked as a community newspaper publisher and small business administrator in Washington, and first returned to Vietnam in 1992 as a tourist. He moved to Hanoi nearly 20 years ago to work with an American veteran organization to restore diplomatic relations with Vietnam. Afterwards, he made it his mission to help clear up unexploded ordnance.
For me, Vietnam was an unclosed chapter in the sense that when I left, it was a painful experience. And it's one of the reasons that I hoped that I would come back and in better circumstances, because that was a terrible state in which to leave things.
This unexploded bomb was spotted by a farmer at the edge of his rice paddy, less than 30 meters from his house and where his children play. Having attended one of Cersei's classes, he knew how to call one of Cersei's bomb disposal teams, trained to safely detonate the device in situ rather than risk trying to move it.
The real challenge in Vietnam is not how to clean up every bomb and mine, but how to make Vietnam safe. But that does not mean that every bomb and mine needs to be cleaned up. It means that people have to understand the problem. They have to be part of the process of solving the problem, which is to know how to call in explosive ordnance disposal teams that will come immediately and clean up the ordnance that they found.
In addition to more than 20 bomb disposal teams, Project Renew has set up an educational program to prevent accidents, along with prosthetic services and vocational programs for the unfortunate victims of UXOs.
The management of the problem will have to be continued for a long time to come. But nobody should be killed, nobody should have an accident, should be injured, lose an eye or an arm or a leg in the future.
Chuck Cersei is hopeful that the deadly legacy of the war will draw more funding from the U.S. and veterans for the last unfinished mission in Vietnam.
I think the most appropriate, the most meaningful commemoration of the war for us Americans would be to come together to help Vietnam make this country safe from cluster munitions and other ordnance like this. Could be achieved, we could have full closure.
It's taken 18 minutes in a four-wheel drive to travel just 8 kilometers. We finally arrive at the minefield in Chieu Phong district, where bomb and landmine disposal teams under the Mine Advisory Group, or MAG, are working. Today, Roots of Peace, another humanitarian organization in Quảng Trị, is at the site to witness the landmine disposal process. They've been in collaboration for the past 3 years. Sean Weatherill, an experienced explosive expert from MAG, will guide them through the minefield today.
My name is Sean Weatherill. I'm the Technical Operations Manager for MAG here in Vietnam. Well, prior to me coming to Vietnam, I was in Sri Lanka for 3 years, and prior to that in Cambodia for a year, and before that in Sudan for 2 years with MAG.
During the past 25 years, MAG has worked in 40 countries around the world, returning over 5,500 square kilometers of land to safe and productive use. After studying about the war in Vietnam, they decided to expand the operation to the country.
Before deploying to any country, we obviously know that there's conflict in the country, and then prior to us deploying any technical teams, we have NTS teams, non-technical survey teams. They go around and collect information about the contamination in that area. So basically, when we come in here with our technical teams, we don't waste resources as to going and asking people as to where the contamination is. We've already got a good idea where the contamination is, and we can get stuck in and remove the items.
MAG started operating in Vietnam in 1999 and has become one of the most effective landmine disposal organizations in the country. By 2013, the organization has cleared 7.8 million square meters of land and destroyed over 190,000 UXOs and 2,500 landmines. The group expertise is helping locals in Quảng Trị escape the deadly devices that litter the ground.
Since May this year, up until now, we've cleared 1,100,000 square meters of contaminated land. And obviously, Chieu Phong is only one of the many districts within the province. I decided to do this job because I find it very rewarding. I think it's good at the end of the day when you've cleared some land and it's gone back into productive use, and it basically uplifts that community before where they were battling, you now provide them with a means to provide for themselves. They can cultivate crops, take it to the market, and that way improve their quality of life.
Quảng Trị has an ideal conditions for many crops as due to the annual floods, so it's hard for the locals here to make a stable living. Some look for scrap metal in the minefields using simple metal detectors, hoping to find enough to sell and feed their families with the $5 to $7 they earn every day. This is one of the reasons the number of UXO victims continues to increase even after the war. Having witnessed the war and its consequences, Heidi Kuhn, the founder of Roots of Peace, has found ways to help victims and those most at risk.
When I was a 10-year-old girl, 1968, I watched the Vietnam War on my television, and I lived in San Francisco where my parents raised me. But what was surrounding me were images of peace and love. And to me, 40 years after the war has ended, there is no peace and love on earth. There is no peace on earth when there are landmines sown in the ground. And to know that there are an estimated 3.5 million landmines silently poised in the soils of Vietnam today, it is a moral responsibility, it's a moral obligation from my heart to fulfill the childhood dream that I had in 1968. And so proud to be here, standing on these soils, not only as a mother, but a grandmother, and to give my footsteps back for peace.
This is the house of Mrs. Mai and her husband Thu, a landmine victim.
Ở dưới vườn cũ thì giờ họ đến lúc làm lập vườn mới thì trong nhà là mấy anh em đào hao để trồng tiêu. Đào trồng tiêu thì anh cuốc chim đàn nổ ngay ở trong góc vườn luôn. Tháng 3 năm 2012 là anh trong lúc đi chở phân bò để mà bỏ tiêu, chăm sóc cây tiêu mới trồng thì anh bị tai nạn, bị chấn thương sọ não.
The war also left another shocking legacy, Agent Orange, and Mrs. Thúy is one of its victims.
1984 là tôi lấy chồng cũng đẻ được một cháu, sinh năm 85 là đầu to, chân nhỏ, bụng to, sống được 45 ngày là cháu mất. Và đến năm 89 tôi sinh thêm một cháu trai nữa, nhưng mà cháu sống được 16 năm, học lớp 10 là bị đàng hoàng, không chi hết. Thì bị tai nạn giao thông. Năm 1994 thì đẻ bé Trương Thị Kiều đẻ cháu ra rồi là bị tật trong bào thai, rồi tôi không biết cháu là tàn tật thôi chứ cũng không biết là chất độc.
No way out for these unfortunate war victims? Well, there is now, as Roots of Peace have arrived in Vietnam. Heidi Kuhn became gravely aware of landmines and their lasting effects on economies upon the death of Princess Diana in 1997. Heidi began Roots of Peace with a vision to turn mines to vines. Transforming minefields into productive farmland has restored economic self-sufficiency for communities all over the world. The programs have removed over 1 million landmines in UXOs in numerous continents, paving the way for post-conflict recovery. Heidi and her organization has affected and inspired over 1 million farmers to improve their orchards and crops and have opened the door for them to sell to new markets. Their programs have facilitated the export of over 14,500 metric tons of fresh and dried fruit and nuts, worth over $18 million to international markets. With her experiences with crops around the world, Heidi decided that pepper would be the best option for people in Quảng Trị. However, in order to prevent any UXO accidents, Heidi asked Mark to come and clear any remaining UXOs from the farm. Mrs. Mai and her husband Thu had the garden cleaned by Mark in 2012.
So now, as Roots of Peace raise funds, the first obligation you have for restoring the land is the removal of the landmines, the remnants of war. And after the mines are removed very slow and painstakingly, there is quality assurance that goes on to assure that the land is returned back to its pristine, fertile value that really is the most beautiful part of what the land we share around the world.
Chúng tôi cũng được giới thiệu và khi gặp thì ngoài cái việc giúp đỡ anh Thu là phục hồi lại cái vườn tiêu đã sẵn có, thì chúng tôi cũng nhờ là cái dự án mắc tới ra phá cái bom mìn trong vườn của anh để mở rộng ra cái vườn thêm, để phát triển thêm, để cho anh Thu là có thêm thu nhập để mà nuôi con và sống gọi là tốt đẹp hơn.
As well as clearing U-axles from farmland, Roots of Peace also provides technical and financial support to farmers so they can access direct advice from staff at the organization.
Tổ chức rộp họ hỗ trợ cho em về cái khoa học kỹ thuật, vì họ hỗ trợ thêm cho em là phân bón để mà chăm sóc vườn tiêu, rồi cải tạo thêm vườn tiêu cũ của mình. Em cũng nói chung là cũng cảm ơn cái dự án rộp, nhờ có cái dự án rộp mới vợ chồng em mới vượt qua được cái giai đoạn khó khăn nhất.
Heidi is revisiting Mai's family 2 years after she first met them, and she can see some improvements in their life. The smiles are back on their faces, and although they still face hardships, they can hopeful about the future with support from Roots of Peace. And for Thuy, since joining the project, she does not have to work as a freelance laborer like before. Now, she spends most of her time caring for the pepper farm.
Tham gia vào dự án là năm 2012. Bên tổ chức hỗ trợ là phân bón về kỹ thuật chăm sóc, rồi đi tập huấn thêm kỹ thuật chăm sóc về giúp đỡ thêm phân bón. Làm tốt là cái kinh tế giảm bớt khó khăn là điều chắc chắn.
While earning a higher income, Thuy also has more time to spend with her daughter, who also suffers from Agent Orange.
So nice to see you. Bye bye and bye bye. Bye bye. So we'll just talk. You speak your language and I'll speak mine.
These are just a few of the many farmers who have been supported by Roots of Peace in Quảng Trị, and they all now enjoy better incomes and lives. Roots of Peace has given them something important: hope.
Vườn tiêu này là coi như 450 gốc, rồi mình đạt khoảng chỗ 2 tấn năm. Đấy. Nếu như mà giá cả mà cỡ như năm nay khoảng 230 trở lên, khoảng vài năm tới thì coi như mình sẽ thu hồi nhanh thôi.
And trust is what Roots of Peace has earned from these people.
Họ về họ tập huấn thì họ mời dân chúng tôi tham gia vào. Thì trong quá trình tham gia thì cũng được nhiều cái hiểu biết về cái kỹ thuật trồng tiêu này, về thuốc sâu, rồi kỹ thuật làm cả cái khâu công tác canh tác này rất là quan trọng. Mà trong 3 năm vừa rồi chúng tôi hiểu được nhiều lắm.
Dự án này đã góp phần cho nông dân cam lộ, mà đặc biệt là người trồng tiêu đã tự tin vào những cái biện pháp canh tác, cũng như là có cái kế hoạch sử dụng đất và mở rộng cái vùng tiêu theo cái chiến lược và kế hoạch của Ủy ban nhân huyện.
So far, over 1,000 households in Quảng Bình, Quảng Trị, and Quảng Nam have joined Roots of Peace projects and received technical and financial support worth over $1.5 million. Projects run by foreign organizations like Roots of Peace are giving these once war-torn battlefield a facelift.
Những cái hoạt động của họ rất là cụ thể, hiệu quả rất là cao. Bà con nông dân trong cái việc mà năng lực về hiểu biết về làm ăn sản xuất rất là khó, còn hiểu biết còn thấp, cho nên cái việc để nâng cao năng lực trình độ cho bà con nông dân thì đến đây thì nói những cái dự án đó đem lại hiệu quả rất là tốt.
I hope to be back in this beautiful country with picnic baskets and picnic blankets and lay them out on a former minefield. Lay them out ultimately in places called Hamburger Hill, terrible legacies of war, but to bring our children and my grandchildren one day to this beautiful country of Vietnam, to remove the seeds of hatred and to heal the wounds of war and empower these farmers to make money and plant plant the roots of peace.
Raising the awareness of the people toward landmines, demining, and bringing back the land to the people for safe cultivations. Those are the very moving stories of the foreign organizations in Quảng Trị province. And now moving to our time out this week, our reporter Michael Liu will tell you more.
While it may look like a scene from the Second World War, this is actually another casual day at Galaxy Hunter shooting range, where I have the pleasure of joining the boys from my team and the people of the Galaxy Hunter shooting range named Ghost Team. Let's check out what excitement are on offer. Arriving at any paintball club in Vietnam, you can expect to be dressed in full military uniform. So right now, we're getting all hyped up at Galaxy Hunter. Bây giờ chúng mình cần những dụng cụ gì hả anh?
Khi bạn vào chơi bạn cần những đồ cơ bản, như sau là có găng tay, mặt nạ,
skull face,
áo giáp.
It's an axe on it actually, so I might as well call my team the Axe. Right. Time to gear up, boys. Now that we get the feel of a legit military base and my ultimate warrior fantasy has become a reality, the arsenal is our next stop. From the Communist Liberator symbol of the AK-47 to an M16 assault rifle, these fearsome looking weapons have been modified for safe but awesomely fun action. Next comes the first fun part, a crash course on how to fire a paintball rifle. For only as little as $12, you can enjoy some mad fun with 100 paintballs and a complimentary drink as well. So now that practice time is over, we excitedly wait for opponents, and what better way to warm our victorious spirits up with some photographic narcissism, which obviously shows our professionalism too. And here they come. I am riding, no breaking me. I am crying, no shaking me. I am riding, no earthquake. Disciplined, experienced, skilled, and truly, pretty too. Galaxy Hunters are just the real deal.
Cái thứ nhất, rèn luyện về thể lực. Cái thứ hai, có thể là tạo nhiều cái cảm xúc mới cho mình mà những môn thể thao khác không có thể đem lại được.
But nothing shall unblunt the determination of the axe kickers.
All right, so our strategy is to go out and get shot while you and Kate wait in the background. Yeah? Okay, that sounds like a pretty sweet strategy.
Yeah, I brought some vodka.
You know.
I brought some vodka. Can you feel it, boys? immediately springing into action. The two sides have quickly secured grounds and played out all the cards. The rule is simple. Whoever gets shot will be called out and has to point their gun to the sky as they walk out to wait for the next round. Whichever team eliminates all enemy troops wins. And it finally came to this.
This is reporter Michael Liu reporting straight from the battlefield of Galaxy Hunter's shooting range, and right now the opponents are showing no mercy. I'm the only person left in the team, and it's the matter of dead or alive right now. So there's no other way but to go out there in the field and show them what I've got! Oh God, I can't stand it.
So despite the results, both teams have returned home with some special memories and most importantly, learned something about paintball. It is not just about the winning or losing, it's about making friends internationally as well.
So what do you like the most about playing paintball today?
Shooting people.
Trying to shoot people.
Not be killed. Shooting people too.
Get shot.
Okay guys, we had a lot of fun today. It was a pleasure to be part of the team with you guys. So, Axe Kickers forever?
Axe Kickers forever!
And that's it for our Expo Living for this week. Hope you enjoyed, and if you have any comments or ideas, please feel free to send them to expoliving@vtv.vn. And also to rewatch any of our program, please log on to vtv4.vn or youtube.com/vtv4go. Thanks for watching and see you next time.